Hello everyone, and welcome back to Did You Know? The home of secrets, controversies, and untold stories. Today, we are diving into a question that has lingered in the hearts of millions of fans across Africa and beyond. A question that sparks debate in music forums, WhatsApp groups, and family living rooms. A question that goes beyond music, beyond fame, beyond blood. P-square, between Peter and Paul, who is really richer? At first glance, you might say, well, they are twins. They earn money together. Surely, they must be equally rich. But, my friends, the truth is much more complicated. Behind the fame, behind the hit songs, behind the endless tours and endorsement deals lies a story of rivalry, business moves, hidden investments, and even family battles that shape the fortunes of these two superstars. We will journey deep into the rise, the fall, and the rebirth of Africa's most iconic music duo. We'll break down their money, their properties, their endorsements, and yes, their personal lifestyles. By the end, you'll finally have an answer to this burning question. But, be warned, the truth may shock you. Let's begin. To truly understand Peter and Paul's world today, we must go back. Back to where it all began. The Okoye twins were born on November 18, 1981, in Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. Raised in a humble but disciplined home, they grew up with their brothers and sisters, in a family that valued hard work, faith, and determination. From the very beginning, Peter and Paul were inseparable. They did everything together, ate together, played together, fought together. But there was one thing that united them more than anything else: music. They were obsessed with Michael Jackson. His voice, his dance moves, his energy, it consumed them. They spent hours copying his style, practicing his iconic moves, and entertaining friends and neighbors. It wasn't long before the twins formed a dance group called Smooth Criminals. Yes, just like Michael's hit song. They were young, raw, but passionate. And even though they didn't have money, they had something priceless: talent. Over time, their dancing evolved into singing. And together, they became P-square. By the early 2000s, Nigeria's music industry was changing. Afrobeat was beginning to take shape, and P-square rode that wave like champions. Their breakthrough came in 2005 with their album Get Squared. Songs like Busybody and Story became instant classics. Suddenly, Peter and Paul weren't just boys anymore. They were superstars. From there, it was hit after hit, album after album. Game Over, Danger, The Invasion, their music dominated not only Nigeria but Africa at large. They weren't just making music, they were making money. And lots of it. But as history shows us, money changes everything. At their peak, P-square wasn't just a music group. They were a money-making empire. Let's break it down. By the late 2000s and early 2010s, P-square was commanding some of the highest performance fees in Africa. It was rumored that they were earning anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 per show, sometimes even more for international events. Think about that for a second. A single night, a single performance, could fetch them what some people may not earn in a lifetime. They toured across Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. Their concerts were sold out. Their fans, millions strong. And the money kept rolling in. But it wasn't just performances. Endorsements came in too. Companies wanted to associate with the P-square brand. Telecom giants, beverage companies, luxury brands, they all lined up, ready to pay millions. Their albums were selling like hotcakes. Even before the streaming era, physical CD sales and digital downloads added millions more to their accounts. And then came the music videos. Remember Do Me? Remember Personally? These videos weren't just entertainment, they were cultural moments. Each one raked in millions of views and strengthened the brand. By 2010, P-square was reportedly among the highest-earning acts in Africa. They weren't just musicians, they were businessmen. They invested in properties, mansions, cars, and business ventures. But here's the twist. Despite their shared success, despite their shared fame, the money wasn't always shared equally. And this is where cracks began to show. In 2016, the unthinkable happened. The brothers who had conquered Africa together, who had built an empire together, suddenly couldn't stand each other. Rumors of disagreement over management, contracts, and money began to circulate. Their elder brother, Jude, who managed the group, became a central figure in the conflict. Peter accused him of favoritism. Paul sided with Jude. And just like that, the once unbreakable bond between the twins shattered. They went their separate ways. No more P-Square. No more joint performances. Fans were heartbroken. Africa was shocked. But for Peter and Paul, the split wasn't just emotional, it was financial. Every show they once performed together was now cut in half. Every endorsement deal they once shared was now split or lost. It was here that we began to see the difference in their financial destinies. Peter reinvented himself as Mr. P, Paul rebranded as Rude Boy. And suddenly, the competition wasn't just about music. It was about survival. About money. About who could outshine the other. The world had a new question to ask: without each other, who will be richer? Let's take a closer look. Peter Okoye, Mr. P. When Peter stepped out on his own, he knew he had to reinvent himself. He didn't just rely on music, he diversified. He became a brand ambassador for several companies, including Olympic Milk, Globalcom, and others. He also launched Zoom Lifestyle Lottery, a platform that allowed fans to participate in raffles and win prizes. Peter also invested in real estate and other businesses. His strategy was clear: build wealth beyond music. On the music side, he released singles like Ebe Ono, One More Night, and Cool It Down. While they didn't reach the same heights as P-Square's hits, they kept him relevant and earning. Paul Okoye, Rude Boy Paul, on the other hand, focused heavily on music. He stayed true to his roots, producing soulful, emotional tracks that resonated deeply with fans. Songs like Reason With Me, Audio Money, Woman, and Somebody Baby became instant hits. His streaming numbers skyrocketed, particularly on YouTube, where Reason With Me alone pulled in over 180 million views. Paul's music kept him on top of the charts. His shows may have been fewer, but they were powerful. He remained a force to be reckoned with in the music scene. So, Peter became the businessman, Paul became the musician. Two different paths, but both still leading to millions. The question remained, which path brought in more money? In 2021, after years of fighting, the impossible happened. Peter and Paul reunited. P-Square was back. And fans across the world rejoiced. Their comeback shows were sold out. Their tours across the US and Europe poured in millions once again. The brand of P-Square was alive, and with it, their combined fortunes. So, who is richer today? Reports suggest Peter Okoye's net worth stands around $12 to $14 million. Paul Okoye's net worth is slightly higher, around $14 to $16 million. On paper, Paul is richer. His music consistency and streaming dominance keep him slightly ahead. But Peter's diversification into business and endorsements gives him a long-term advantage. He may not be ahead now, but his financial future looks very secure. At the end of the day, maybe the real answer is this: when Peter and Paul are together as P-Square, nobody can touch them. Their combined wealth, influence, and legacy is unmatched in Africa. Divided, they are strong. But united, they are unstoppable. So, between Peter and Paul, who is richer? On paper, it's Paul. In strategy, it may be Peter. But maybe the real wealth of the Okoye twins isn't just in money, it's in their legacy, their resilience, and the millions of fans they've inspired across Africa and beyond. This is the story of P-Square. A story of talent, success, rivalry, and reunion. A story that proves that sometimes, wealth is not just about numbers, but about impact. Thank you for watching Did You Know? If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the secrets and untold stories of Africa's icons. Until next time, stay curious.